In the dim glow of the 50th floor executive suite, where the city lights of Manhattan twinkled like distant stars, Mike Thompson gripped the mop handle tighter than ever before. His heart pounded as he watched Elena Vanderbilt, the untouchable billionaire CEO, collapse to the marble floor, her elegant evening gown pooling around her like spilled silk. She clutched her throat, gasping for air, her face turning a terrifying shade of blue. Anaphylactic shock, peanuts from a catered snack, he realized in a flash, spotting the discarded wrapper. No one else was around. The building was a ghost town at midnight. Without thinking, Mike dropped to his knees, tilted her head back, and pressed his lips to hers, forcing air into her lungs. "Come on, breathe," he whispered between breaths, his calloused hands steady on her chest for compressions. It wasn't a kiss of passion, it was a desperate act of salvation. But in that moment, as her eyes fluttered open and locked onto his, everything in their world shifted forever. Mike Thompson was no stranger to desperation. At 38, he was a single dad scraping by as a night janitor for Vanderbilt Tech, one of New York's premier AI firms. His days blurred into nights, dropping off his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, at school in their cramped Brooklyn apartment, then hustling through 2 jobs to keep the lights on. Lily was his everything, the bright-eyed girl with her mother's curly hair and a laugh that could light up the darkest alley. But she was also his heaviest burden. Born with a rare heart condition, tetralogy of Fallot, she'd undergone surgery as a toddler, but the bills never stopped coming. Mike's wife, Sarah, had passed away during childbirth complications, leaving him a widower before he could even process fatherhood. "We'll make it, kiddo," he'd tell Lily every night, tucking her in with stories of superheroes who beat the odds. But inside, Mike felt like a fraud. He mopped floors in skyscrapers he could never afford to live in, invisible to the suits who ruled the world. That fateful night, Elena Vanderbilt had been burning the midnight oil, as she often did. At 35, she was the youngest self-made billionaire in tech, her company revolutionizing AI-driven healthcare. Forbes called her a visionary, tabloids dubbed her the Ice Queen, for her no-nonsense demeanor and string of failed relationships. Born into old money but forging her own path after ditching her family's banking empire, Elena had built Vanderbilt Tech from a garage startup in Silicon Valley before relocating to New York. She was allergic to peanuts, severely so, but in the chaos of a late-night strategy session, a mislabeled appetizer had slipped through. As she hit the floor, her EpiPen was in her purse across the room, out of reach. Panic set in, her vision blurring, until rough hands and warm breath pulled her back from the edge. When Elena's eyes opened, she saw Mike's face inches from hers, sweat on his brow, his janitor's uniform stained with floor polish. You saved me," she rasped, her voice weak but grateful. Paramedics arrived minutes later, summoned by Mike's frantic 911 call. As they wheeled her out on a stretcher, she grabbed his hand. "What's your name?" she asked. Mike Thompson," he replied, stunned. "Thank you, Mike. I owe you my life." Image, a dramatic scene in a sleek, modern office at night. A rugged man in a janitor's uniform kneels over an elegant woman in a gown, performing CPR. City skyline visible through floor-to-ceiling windows, casting blue hues over the intensity. The next day, the story exploded across social media. "Billionaire saved by janitor's kiss of life." Headlines screamed. Elena, recovering in her penthouse overlooking Central Park, couldn't shake the image of Mike's kind eyes. She had her assistant track him down, not hard, since he was an employee. A courier arrived at Mike's apartment with a check for $50,000, labeled Gratitude Fund. Mike stared at it, his hands shaking. This could cover Lily's next specialist visit, maybe even a down payment on better insurance. But it felt like charity, and pride gnawed at him. He cashed it anyway, for Lily. Elena wasn't done. Intrigued by the man who'd vanished into the night without fanfare, she invited him to her office. "I want to thank you properly," her message read. Mike showed up in his best shirt, feeling like an imposter amid the glass and chrome. Elena, poised behind her massive desk, smiled warmly, a rare sight for her staff. "You didn't just save me, you reminded me there's good in this world," she said. They talked for hours, about her relentless drive that left no room for personal life, about his struggles as a dad. Mike opened up about Sarah's death, how he quit his mechanic job to take night shifts so he could be there for Lily's appointments. Elena shared her own losses, her parents' divorce, the pressure of legacy. For the first time in years, she felt seen, not as a billionaire, but as a person. Their connection deepened unexpectedly. Elena visited Lily at the hospital during a routine checkup, bringing toys and stories of her own childhood adventures. Lily, with her IV drip and infectious giggle, melted Elena's heart. "You're like a princess, Miss Elena," Lily exclaimed. Elena laughed, but tears welled up. She'd always wanted kids but feared her lifestyle would ruin them. Mike watched, a warmth spreading in his chest he hadn't felt since Sarah. But challenges loomed like storm clouds over the Hudson. First came the media frenzy. Paparazzi hounded Mike at work, labeling him the hero janitor. His co-workers whispered, some envied, others mocked. "Think you're too good for us now," one sneered. Mike ignored it, but the attention terrified him. What if it affected Lily? She was already bullied at school for her weird heart. Elena's world was no kinder. Her board of directors murmured about distractions. Her ex-fiancé, a Wall Street shark named Victor, reappeared, spreading rumors that Mike was a gold digger. "He's using you, Elena. Wake up," Victor sneered at a gala. Elena defended Mike fiercely, but doubt crept in. Was this real, or just gratitude? The biggest hurdle was internal. Mike battled insecurity. "I'm just a janitor, Elena. You deserve someone who can give you the world." One night, after a secret dinner in her penthouse, steak and wine overlooking the city, he voiced his fears. "Lily and I, we're from different worlds. This can't last." Elena took his hand. "Mike, you gave me life when I was dying. That's worth more than any fortune." But words weren't enough. Actions had to follow. Image, a cozy hospital room scene. A young girl with curly hair smiles from her bed, holding a stuffed animal. Beside her, a sophisticated woman in business attire laughs, while a humble man watches with emotion in his eyes. Soft lighting emphasizes warmth and connection. The turning point came during a crisis. Lily's condition worsened, a valve issue requiring emergency surgery. The cost, $200,000, even with insurance. Mike panicked, working double shifts, but it wasn't enough. He refused Elena's offer to pay. "I can't take your money like that. It'd make me feel less." Elena respected his pride but couldn't stand by. She used her influence instead, connecting Mike with a top cardiologist at her company's partnered hospital. "It's not charity, it's what friends do," she insisted. As Lily went under the knife, Mike paced the waiting room, Elena by his side. Hours ticked by like eternity. When the doctor emerged with good news, "She's stable. Surgery successful," Mike broke down, sobbing into Elena's shoulder. In that vulnerability, their bond solidified. Post-surgery, Elena proposed a radical change. "Come work for me, Mike. Not as a janitor, as facilities manager. You've got the skills, I saw your resume. And Lily, my company has experimental AI tech for monitoring heart conditions. We can help her thrive." Mike hesitated. "What about us? Is this pity?" "No," Elena whispered, pulling him close. "This is love." Their first real kiss happened there, in the hospital corridor, soft, genuine, worlds apart from that life-saving breath. But love demanded more resolutions. Victor, jealous and scheming, leaked false stories to the press. Janitor blackmails billionaire. Mike's apartment was vandalized. Lily faced cruel taunts at school. Elena confronted Victor publicly at a press conference. "This man saved my life without asking for a dime. He's more honorable than you'll ever be." The backlash turned. Public opinion swung in their favor. Hashtags like #HeroJanitor trended, turning Mike into an unlikely icon. Mike's own demons needed facing. He attended therapy, funded by Elena's encouragement, to heal from Sarah's loss. "She'd want you happy," Elena said one evening as they walked through Central Park, leaves crunching underfoot. Lily, recovering beautifully with a new monitoring device from Vanderbilt Tech, skipped ahead, her energy boundless. Their relationship blossomed amid everyday joys. Picnics in Brooklyn Bridge Park, where Elena traded heels for sneakers. Mike taught her to cook Sarah's famous lasagna. Elena showed him the stars from her private jet during a weekend getaway to the Hamptons. Challenges persisted, Elena's long hours, Mike's protectiveness over Lily, but they communicated, compromised. "We're a team," Mike said, proposing on a snowy Christmas Eve in Times Square, ring modest but heartfelt. Elena said yes, tears freezing on her cheeks. Their wedding was intimate, Central Park ceremony, Lily as flower girl, blending their worlds. No lavish affair, just love. Years later, Mike ran a non-profit arm of Vanderbilt Tech, helping single parents with medical bills. Elena stepped back from CEO duties, focusing on family. They adopted a boy, giving Lily a sibling. Life wasn't perfect, arguments over money, media intrusions, but they faced it together. Image: a romantic proposal scene in snowy Times Square. A man on one knee offers a ring to a stunned woman, lights and billboards glowing around them. A young girl claps excitedly in the background, snowflakes adding magic. In the end, that midnight kiss wasn't just salvation, it was transformation. Mike learned that worth isn't measured in dollars, but in heart. Elena discovered vulnerability's strength, and Lily, she grew up knowing love could bridge any divide. Their story inspires, in a world divided by wealth and status, a single act of kindness can change everything. Reach out, save a life, you might save your own. Love doesn't care about bank accounts, it thrives on courage, compassion, and second chances. So, next time you see someone struggling, remember Mike and Elena. Everything can change in a heartbeat.